all you lovely people, I've got a beautiful recipe for you. This is the most incredible rhubarb and custard tart. It's soft, gooey, gorgeous. It's got crumbly homemade pastry. It is an amazing thing that you can make with your friends and family. So what I'm going to do is split it up into the 3 parts. We've got the pastry, we've got a custard, and we've got a beautiful rhubarb and apple compote, okay? We're gonna make it look amazing. Let me show you how to make the beautiful compote of rhubarb and apples. It's a great combination. So first up, this is forced rhubarb. And I'm gonna take the floury end off, but the beautiful stalks, that's the rhubarb, is amazing. There you go. All the leaves have gone. We'll compost this. We definitely don't want to eat this. We've got a kilo of this lovely rhubarb that's been washed. Just cut it up into like chunks about 3 centimeters in length. Get yourself a nice large pan, and on a high heat, medium high heat, I will add the rhubarb. So to go with this, I'm going to add some apples. So I've got 3 beautiful eating apples, about 500 grams, and I'm going to peel them. So using eating apples is really nice. They've got good texture. Each different type of eating apple has completely different flavour and texture. You need 500 grams. So peel them, quarter them, and then get rid of the core, cut them into 3 centimetre, then just cut them in half like that, big chunks. Stir in the apple like that. You can hear the heat happening now. 125 grams of sugar goes in. And then a little swig of water, loads of liquid will come out of the rhubarb and the apple. It smells amazing. So I'm going to turn that down just a little bit, so it's just above medium. 15 minutes of cooking until tender. So for the custard, I want to go old school. In a pan here, it's not on the heat yet, we're going to go in with 500 mils of lovely milk. Grab yourself a tablespoon, not a dessert spoon. And we're going to go in with a level tablespoon of the custard powder. Do that 3 times, so 45 grams of custard powder. Just whisk in this lovely powder. Now I can put the temperature on. So into there, I'm going to add like 2 or 3 tablespoons of golden caster sugar and a good teaspoon or 2 of vanilla, right? So do it as much as you like. I'm going to put 2 teaspoons in. Look at that. Just whisk that up. So in no time at all, as that milk comes up to a simmer, can you see how it's thickened? So as this kind of just cooks out for a minute or 2, have a look at this. Look, it's getting really bubbly. Look at the colour. Look at the colour. I'm taking the lid off because it's getting excited in there. So into this baked blind pastry tart. So you can see it's steaming now. That will cool down for 20 minutes and naturally a skin will form on the top of that custard. So this has had 15 minutes. Turn it off. And we're going to pour it into that colander. Now there's a reason that I do this, right? You've got the most incredible natural juice that comes out of this compote, okay? Look underneath and look at that beauty. That is extraordinary, right? So what's brilliant about this little method is gravity and the natural kind of filtering of this compote gives you 2 things. It gives you the perfect consistency to go on that custard, and then you get this incredible, natural, almost cordial that we can just boil up a little bit until it's thick, and you can drizzle it over your tart. So I'm gonna let that cool down, and let that cool down, and just for 1 minute, let that kind of reduce and thicken, and then I'll show you what to do next. So I've just been rolling out the ball of pastry. So this is about the thickness of a £1 coin. The custard has cooled down and you can see that natural skin. It's quite robust, okay? So now I'm going to put our amazing compote straight in the middle and then just use that spoon to flatten it out. Beautiful. So what I want to do now is get this beautiful pie top on here. I need a little bit of glue, so obviously we're going to use egg wash. So I've just beaten up 1 egg here. Just go around the little edge here. Super simple. What I'm going to do now is go to the edge of our pastry and put it around your rolling pin and then just roll up the whole thing, just like this. And then very simply, then unroll it over the top like that. And then you use this rolling pin again, just to go around the edge. It's quite annoyingly satisfying to take or kind of crimp off the pastry. Really simple, really easy. And then we can use this pastry here to make some decorations, right? So we're gonna dress this up now, and this is all optional extra stuff, right? Just take some almonds, flaked almonds, right? And a brilliant little tip is if you put some icing sugar, just a teaspoon or two, right? Don't need much, and a little bit of water, just a few drips of water, right? You mix it up like this, and it goes a little bit claggy. And if you sprinkle this over the top like this, when that bakes, these almonds will be the best almonds you've ever had. Then, have a look at this. I've got ahead of the game. How amazing they are, right? So, no talent has made this at all. I've cheated. So if you go online, you can get these little marzipan or pastry cutters. They are 2 a penny. They are cheap as chips. Let's have some fun with this. So I'm going to take a big one like this, go in, you push down, and then you must press the top bit like that. Then it comes off like that, and you just prise it away. And once you've got that, then we can lay this on our beautiful tart. Look at that. So we can do that with a few different shapes, and then I'll use the rest of these just to finish off this beautiful tart, and it just makes your rustic tart just look a little bit more special. Last but not least, a little bit more of the egg wash. You can give it a last little pinch of sugar. That's it, job's done. I'm now going to put this in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 Fahrenheit, for about 40 to 45 minutes until golden and gorgeous. You're going to love it. So there you go. That is our incredible rhubarb and custard tart. It's gone gorgeous and golden. Look at the little almonds here. They've just kind of frosted in the most beautiful way. So look, let's just get into it, because I want to show you exactly what's going on the inside. You ready? Look at that. Crispy pastry, gorgeous topping, the almonds, the rhubarb, the custard. Right, let's plate this up. It's gonna be really special. Take some of that beautiful liquor, the syrup from the rhubarb, and just give it a little drizzle on the top. Enough yapping, time to eat. Amazing. So there you go, guys. An absolute classic flavor combination. Beautiful, crumbly, homemade pastry. If you want the full recipe, then go and check it out on my Jum app. Enjoy. People, now for a beautiful comfort food dish, which is undeniably sumptuous and gorgeous, and it is the classic British dish, which is cauliflower cheese. But I'm going to show you that frozen veg in a dish like this is just as delicious as fresh, only a lot cheaper. Now on my left is my lovely Greek sister Georgie. She's going to be cooking a fresh version of this beautiful gratin, okay? I'm going to do the frozen. We're going to have a little taste up at the end, so you're cool with that?
Yeah, definitely.
Lovely. So let's start with the recipe. First, in a pan, 2 knobs of butter. Just get it in that pan on a medium heat, okay? So this is based around the classic French cream sauce, bechamel sauce. For extra flavour, add a bay leaf and 2 finely sliced cloves of garlic. Thicken the sauce with 2 tablespoons of flour. And then all I'm going to do is add about 500 mils of milk, bit by bit. You can use a wooden spoon or a whisk. I'm using 500 grams of frozen broccoli. Let that simmer for 20 minutes until the broccoli is cooked right through. Then give it a good whiz up to create a delicious creamy broccoli sauce. Get yourself your frozen cauliflower, throw it in, there's a kilo there. That's the equivalent of 2 heads of cauliflower. Then pour the broccoli sauce over the frozen florets of cauliflower. Fantastic. Can't have cauliflower cheese without cheese. Cheddar's great for this. I'm using about 70 grams. That much bread, gonna transform that cauliflower cheese from epic to like super epic, okay? Chuck it in a blender with some rosemary or thyme and a tablespoon of olive oil and blitz. I'm going to go in with a tablespoon of flaked almonds. It goes really, really well with roasted cauliflower. Just a few seconds just to break it up. Then scatter over this delicious veggie feast. So ladies and gents, we have an amazing broccoli and cauliflower cheese with crispy bits. Bake for 1 hour or until golden and cook through. We know that frozen's a lot cheaper, but what I want to prove is that it can be just as tasty as fresh. I think it's time to have a little bit of a taste up. Here's Georgie's one. In a nutshell, bloomin' gorgeous. Now for the version made with frozen veg for nearly half the price. You lose nothing by using frozen, do you not think?
No, it's absolutely delicious.
There you have it, the best cauliflower and broccoli cheese, all thanks to your freezer. So the recipe I'm going to show you now is a delicious cauliflower cheese mac and cheese. Absolutely scrumptious, and it's all about getting the good stuff in a classic comfort food dish. So of course cauliflower is the king. I've got a little heart of celery and 2 leeks. I've got 1 random bit of fennel, but that's not, you don't have to use it. Me and Jules just want to show you how we're kind of doing nice food and cooking with what we've got, what's available. Let's start off here. I've already taken the liberty to cook my pasta. So the same pan, I'm now going to put on a heat, and I'll start adding these veggies here, and I'll chop that up and we'll start adding to the pans. The butter will go in. I'm going to fry off these lovely veggies. And then the celery can go in, and then the fennel. It is in the supermarket. If you do see it, have a try, it's delicious. So we'll fry that off. Now let's talk about the cauliflower. So cut it in half and cut it into florets like this. Often that's what you see, which means that nearly 1/3 of the actual cauliflower is over here going in the bin. Finely slice these leaves. Let this fry off for about 5 minutes and soften up. And then what we want to do is add the flour that turns it into a thickened sauce. Just use regular plain flour, about 1 heaped tablespoon. We'll mix that in, that will start to suck up all the fat from the butter. And then we're going to slowly add milk. I have only got 1 full bottle of this left and half a bottle. I know for a fact I'd get a rollicking from Jules if I put a whole one of these in here now, because we haven't got much. So I'm going to put half milk, half water. So now I'm putting, the rest that I need. Water. Okay, so let that boil now and simmer and cook it out for about 5 minutes just to soften all the veggies. And then I'm going to season it up now. I'll adjust it later with some nice pepper, a little bit of salt, and then for flavour and colour, a heaped teaspoon of English mustard. Stir that in. So let's just carry on now with the cauliflower here. Just get your cauliflower florets, slice them up into beautiful little chunks. Now it's time to talk about the cheese. This is what we've got in our fridge right now. Because I kind of grab and put things back, I've got odds and ends of Parmesan. I've got a tiny little quarter of cheddar. I've got some halloumi, which I've only quarter used, and a chunk of feta. So I'm just gonna have a little grate up. So the sauce is blipping away beautifully. We now turn it off and the cheese goes in, and I'll put most of it in, apart from a little bit to go on top. So the pasta goes in with the cauliflower here. Frankly, you can use whatever pasta you want. What I have to do now is wazz this up. You can use a hand blender, a food processor, or a liquidizer. So I'll be back in a second. Liquidized it, lovely people. That's what it looks like. So in with the sauce. So look, mix up your lovely sauce. Now, you've probably been wondering what this is. This is starchy cooking water, okay? And this is from the pasta. If it's a bit wetter than you expect, then by the time it's baked, then it's going to absorb into that pasta and it will be just blippy and saucy and gorgeous. I'll just put some cheese on top. What we could do is take a waste product that is one of the most wasted products in the whole of Britain, and that's bread. And every time I've got a waif and stray, I just pop it in the window, let it go stale. Literally, once it's properly stale, that's what you get. Just get a tea towel. What you can do is give it a good bash. And we're going to create breadcrumbs. In here it's just straight breadcrumbs, but here I've got some herbs that I've got in little pots. Thyme here, lovely, oregano or marjoram, and some rosemary. You could put in dried herbs, no trouble at all. I'm going to use some garlic, beautiful. So a little bit of oil goes in, and that just kind of allows the natural flavours to come out of the herbs, and it will make the breadcrumbs really golden. There you go, a beautiful tray bake, mac and cheese, bigging up cauliflower and all those veggies. About an hour before lunch, I'll whack that in the oven at about 180 degrees Celsius, and then I'll cook it for about 50 minutes until it's blipping and crispy and gorgeous. Wow!
Yummy.
Look at that. Okay, should we serve up?
Yes. Yeah.
Go on, buds.
Thank you.
Woohoo! What do you reckon, kids? Took Mum down ages.
So guys, what do you reckon? Cauliflower mac and cheese. So I've got the most beautiful chicken and mushroom pie, absolute comfort food, with a little bit of spring onion and mustard, delicious. Get yourself a little knife. So these chicken breasts here, I'm going to slice these into centimetre slices. I've got a little enamel metal tin, whack it on to a high heat, couple of lugs of olive oil in there. Get your chicken, put it into your olive oil. Of course, we want to hit that with some sea salt, a little bit of cracked black pepper, knob of butter in the chicken. I've got some spring onions here. Slice up the spring onions as best as you can. I'm not bothered. You know, the great thing about these 30-minute meals recipes, if you're rubbish with a knife, it's all right. If you're brilliant, it's all right. Don't matter. Get yourself a little box grater, the fine attachment, or one of these little graters, and you just want, you know, quarter of a nutmeg, 1 or 2 bay leaves. I'm just going to tear the stalk off of these bay leaves, and a little bit of thyme. And then we want mushrooms. I've got about 150 grams, or a kind of big handful of button mushrooms. You know, pick these bad boys up, get a slicer attachment on your processor, and put them in. You know what I mean? So, mushrooms go in. I'm going to now turn this into like a pie filling. 1 heaped tablespoon of creme fraiche. In at this point is a heaped teaspoon of flour, and then attitude, a heaped teaspoon of mustard. And then 1 of these little tubs of pre-done chicken stock, if you haven't got any of your own, of course, or a stock cube and a bit of water. This is about 300 mils of stock, and we just mix it up. And you've already got a beautiful, creamy sauce. So I'm going to turn it down to low, because I've got no rush now. I'm happy. Some puff pastry. Buy it, pre-done, and then you just put that pastry on here and tuck it into bed and fold the pastry sort of back in on itself. I want it to glaze and look beautiful. So you can use milk or 1 egg. Just lightly brush this pastry on top. Oh, looks very nice. Let's get a bit of rosemary, stick it right in there. Right, in the oven. That is cooked when it looks cooked. The pie, I can see, is done. Let's just move that over. Look at that. Beautiful. I want that for dinner. This dish is absolutely inspired by our Scottish brothers and sisters, using the incredible spices of haggis. We're going to do lamb shanks that are so tender they're just going to fall off the bone. We're going to have a kick of marmalade, whiskey, and a deep, rich veggie sauce on a creamy, cheesy pearl barley risotto. You're going to love it. So it all begins here with these 6 beautiful lamb shanks. What I like to do is go to my butcher. These have been French trimmed at the top, which expose the bone. They look absolutely beautiful. I'm going to kiss them with just a little olive oil, and I'll season these with salt and pepper. And then what we want to do is get that into a frying pan, which is on a medium heat. So we want to brown off the lamb shanks to get beautiful colour, to create more flavour. Now, at the same time, add a little olive oil to a pan. I'm just going to finely chop 4 slices of smoked bacon. Then go in with some bay leaves, for flavour. The smell is already incredible. So next ingredient, onions. I'm going to use 1 white and 1 red. I want to cut them quite big. In with the onions. Couple of carrots. Nice, big chunks of carrot. Then we're going in with our friend Mr. Swede. Ultimately, what I'm after is 1-inch chunks. Last but not least, the humble celery stick. And in we go. What we're doing now is intensifying and caramelising like natural sugars in the veggies. 15 minutes dedicated to colour, colour, colour. So, let's talk spices. Haggis, such an incredible dish. The spicing is brilliant. So go into a mortar with those classic haggis spices. A tablespoon of black pepper, 10 allspice berries, 5 cloves, and grate in half a nutmeg. Bash them together until fine and sieve them over the veg. This is all getting very exciting. I can even be a little bit cheeky and steal a little bit of the lamb fat, full of flavour. You can see caramelising in full effect. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of thick cut marmalade. It's going to make everything shine and it's going to start to caramelise even more. I want to add a thickening agent now. So 1 generous heaped tablespoon of flour, and then one of my favourite ingredients, 4 shots of really nice Scotch whisky. Now, if you want, what you can do is flame it. Of course, when you're flaming, be careful, because you want the alcohol to cook away fully. As soon as that's happened, add this amazing golden lamb shank. Look at that colour. Any sticky bits from the pan can go in. Pour in a litre of beef stock, then scrunch up a sheet of greaseproof paper and cover the pot. So I love to put the greaseproof on instead of a lid, because what happens is it lets it slowly evaporate, concentrate in that lovely gravy, and it's going to be richer and tastier for it. So I'm going to cook that now for 3 hours at 170 degrees Celsius, and the oven's going to do all the hard work and make it so tender you won't believe. Now, I want to show you how to make the most delicious sweet leek pearl barley risotto. With these lovely big leeks, concentrate on the white part. Cut it in half lengthwise, like that, and I just want to finely slice the leeks. Add a knob of butter to a new pan, a couple of sprigs of thyme, then go in with your leeks. Add a splash of water and cook over a medium heat for 15 minutes. The leeks have just been ticking away. Have a look at that. The softness and sweetness that's come out of these leeks is unbelievable. We can add 450 grams of pearl barley. Now look, these are fantastic little grains. And it has this incredible ability, just like risotto grains, to suck up flavour from not only the leeks that are sweet and delicious, but good stock. Go in with 1.5 litres of chicken stock, cover and cook for around 40 minutes until the barley is tender. The pearl barley is smelling delicious, and if we have a little taste, oh, it's delicious. What I want to do is just add about 500 ml of milk to sort of make it pearly white. And there's one last ingredient, cheddar cheese. Not only for flavour, but also for seasoning. In we go, and just stir it in. Turn the heat off. Let it just sit. Beautifully, kind of getting even more silky and gorgeous. Let's think about serving up. Have a little look at that. Come on, chunks of veg. Let's grab one of those shanks. Just amazing. And then let's go over to that incredible pearl barley. Look at that starchy, comforting gorgeousness. I'll take just a few thyme tips, sprinkle it on the top. Come on, let's get some of that. See how silky it is? I'll go in with the veg first. Look at those chunks. And what I love is the way that the dark, thick gravy marbles through that silky barley risotto. Wowzers, let's get amongst it. And we know we've done good work on the lamb when you can just shake, shake, shake the meat off the bone. Come on, look at that, yes! Right, enough yapping. Deep flavour, tender, sweet meat. I've just got a little hit of marmalade, just a little chunk of that orange peel works so well with the swede, the whiskey, the dark gravy. Oh, go out this weekend, get yourself some lamb shanks and have a proper little cook-up. You will love it.
Look at this, beautiful shoulder of lamb. And I have to be honest, the shoulder of lamb is my favourite bit of the whole animal. And I tell you what, if more people bought it, it would give butchers all around the country a much easier life, because legs of lamb, walk out the door. Racks of lamb, walk out the door. But these little babies need a tiny bit of thought, a little bit of TLC, and cook it slow. And this meat is sweet, it's delicious, and you don't have to do too much to it. So, first of all, get yourself a knife and just score up erratically the lamb, just to open it up a little bit, like that. And then all I want to do is get a roasting tray. I'm going to get a garlic clove and just smash them up like that. Throw a few on the bottom. Get some salt. Season the lamb on both sides. And then pepper. And real simple. The whole point of this is utter simplicity, but then care when you cook it. Get yourself a nice wodge of rosemary. Look at that stuff, beautiful. And just tear it into bits and put it in the bottom of the tray. Rosemary and garlic, classic combo for lamb. And then put your lamb in nice and snug here. And then put a few of the garlic cloves on top here. Tear up some rosemary here, nice big handful of rosemary. Be brave. And then just a tiny little drizzle of olive oil just to get that fat rendering and going. And then tin foil. 2 sheets of tin foil. Put this over here like this. Tightly seal it. And then this is the bit that's going to turn this simple, good value piece of meat into the most incredible roast, right? 4 hours at, well, what I've done is I've got an oven at full whack, OK? And as soon as it goes in, turn it straight down to 170 degrees Celsius, or about 330 Fahrenheit. And what happens is that intense heat gets on the lamb, gets it sort of going, and then the oven cools down, and we're going to gently cook that now, that lower temperature, for about 4 hours. And in 4 hours' time, that lamb is going to be so delicious, sticky, you can pull it apart. It'll be the best roast lamb you ever have. Right, let's get this lamb out. Beautiful. Fantastic smell. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. And you can see, even though it's had tin foil over it, it's got beautiful colour all the way over. And what I do now, the shoulder of lamb, you can see the bone is literally falling out. That's how tender and delicious it is. I'm just going to pick it up, put it onto our platter, like that. Let that just sit. You know there's a bit of meat that's just, see how that, look. That is total tenderness. And, oh. Boo. So in here, we've got these beautiful garlic cloves, and if you just squeeze them, then all this beautiful, lovely, soft, sweet garlickiness, you can just mix it with a bit of gravy and then a bit, you know, potato or veg or whatever, and it is the best thing ever in the world. So don't go throwing those away. And then what you need to do now is get rid of the rest of the rosemary and any of the excess oil, like that. So if you look in the bottom of the pan now, what you've got is beautiful stickiness. So I'm going to put that on the heat, and we're going to make a funky old school caper and mint sauce, but not like a cold mint sauce, hot mint sauce. So first of all, with all the sticky goodness here, I want to put a tablespoon of flour. And obviously what that's going to do is that's going to allow you to thicken your sauce, which is fine. And you can see the colour of it already is that marmitey stickiness that's cooked out of the lamb. And you never want to throw that away, that's gold dust. And while that's doing their thing, I've got some lovely fresh mint from the garden. Finely slice it. And I tell you what, when you make your own fresh mint sauce, as opposed to just getting it out of the jar, you know, it takes seconds to do, and it just tastes so fantastic. And then bring your capers into it. Literally put the two into each other and continue to chop. Go straight in with your mint and capers. And then I've got a pint of chicken stock. Bring it to the boil. I don't need you to simmer it for hours, just enough to get all that stickiness dissolved so you got that wonderful flavour, and you'll be ready to rock and roll. Over here, I've just chopped up some swede, some carrots, some potatoes. Boil them till they're soft, and I'm going to drain them. So pour your veg in there. And then, once you've drained it, put it back in the pan. And we can put them straight back on the heat. Nice knob of butter. And for me, this is it, you know, put the lamb on, go out, have some fun, go do your thing with your mates, your kids, go down the pub, go watch football. Come back, you know, you've got the tin foil on the lamb, nothing's going to go wrong too quickly. Get the gravy on, bit of smashed veg, and you can pull it all together pretty damn quick. And a nice pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper, and then get a masher and just mash them up like that. I don't want you to mash the hell out of them. I'm not looking for a puree. You're not going to get extra points for making baby food. But just look at the colours. Beautiful. So, sauce is ready. Let's bring this together now. We get our smashed veg in here. Look at the colour of that. Total comfort food. Just great. And then a little extra knob of butter just in the top there. Let it melt. With the sauce, you've got that intensity of the lamb in the flavour, you've got the stock, the freshness of the mint and the capers. About a tablespoon of good red wine, white wine, cider vinegar to give it a bit of a twang. And obviously that acidity will help cut through the richness of the lamb. And then just going to pour this lovely gravy in. Look at that. Wonderful hot caper and mint sauce, which will just knock your socks off. Works with lamb, a proper treat. And then I've got some lovely Cavolo Nero, just been quickly boiled. Look at that. Tossed in a little olive oil and a squeeze of lemon juice. It's got salt and pepper in it already. So, lovely bit of greens, proper mash or smashed veg, incredible gravy here. And I want to show you this beautiful lamb because the whole point of this dish, apart from the sweetness and flavour, is the tenderness, right? And literally all I have to do is put my knife in here and you can see it all just bust apart. Look at that. That is the real deal. And once you've tried that lovely shoulder of lamb, you'll be doing it again and again and again. Brilliant.
We all love show-stopping meals, but guess what? You don't have to wait for that special occasion to cook something that's truly impressive. I'm going to turn these 4 gorgeous salmon fillets into an amazing salmon en croute. Now, en croute generally involves pastry around something that's been loved and looked after. It's a great family epic meal. It's exciting. But normally, I would say, it involves at least a couple of hours. It's something more for dinner parties. It's more of a weekend dish. So I've written this recipe for me and my family for the middle of the week. And this dish is humble. It's only like 7, 8 ingredients, and it's easy to put together. 45 minutes, start to finish, and I think you're gonna love it. First of all, we've got to do the stuffing. So we're going with spinach, onions, garlic. We're gonna flavour it up. Frozen spinach is brilliant. I always have it in my freezer. It's been cooked already, it's been squeezed already. All we have to do is bring this back to life. So about 500 grams of spinach is what we need, but we want to flavour it. So best friends with spinach, probably most likely, is garlic. So I've got some garlic, which actually, I grew this, which is nice. I'll just finely slice about 4 cloves, get that into the oil, and give it a nice little mix around. Like that, beautiful. To go with that, 1 onion. A little pinch of salt, a little pinch of pepper, and let's start sweating that off, getting it nice and softened up. We want to bring out the sweetness in those onions. I've got a little bit of rosemary here, which is just winking at me, so I'll just nick a little bit of this. Just a few little bits. This is an optional extra. Any herb, I can't think of one herb I wouldn't want with the salmon and the spinach. So this is beautiful. A little bit of lemon zest really adds a nice bit of fragrance. So for me, the idea of an croute is kind of like a present. You're wrapping something. So of course, what's inside needs to be glorious. So I really want to intensify flavour here. So I'll now take the frozen spinach and we'll go straight in. And of course, that needs to thaw, but we're going to fry and thaw. So let's just take this like that. So what I do now is just have this at a medium heat and put a little lid on top. 10 minutes, it's going to fry and steam. The spinach will defrost and then start getting flavoured with all that gorgeousness. Okay, let's have a little taste. Very nice. Little bit of seasoning, and that is going to be absolutely lovely. So, while that cools down a little bit, let's get the puff pastry out. I think puff pastry is a brilliant, brilliant thing. Look, it's already rolled out for me, and that is properly convenient. This is an all butter puff pastry. It comes on the greaseproof paper, so I don't even have to add any. Then just get yourself a baking dish, place this on top. So what I want to do is just build like a little landing strip for the salmon, right? To give it great flavour, but also to kind of make it look beautiful. Now, if you want to cook it straight away, you can put the spinach on here warm, no trouble at all. If you want to do it in advance, then cool this down, then put it together, okay? So we'll go into the middle of the pastry first. Use a spoon to push the spinach about 5 centimetres from the edge of all 4 sides of the puff pastry. It's super simple, and I know that's going to be super tasty. So then we go on with the salmon. So look, normally when you do a salmon croute, it's a big whole side of salmon. It's a bit of a kind of spectacle, but this dish works really well with like normal supermarket portions. So what I want to do is just grab it and leave a little finger's gap in between. This really helps you because you can get a nice clean portion, so it helps you later on when you serve up, but also it means we've got the potential to add in flavour into those gaps. So look at that, pretty simple, right? Now, what we can do is encase it. So we're not going to fully encase it, we're going to partially encase it. So use the paper to go up against the salmon, and I'll do the same on the other side. Tuck it in, push the pastry down, and that way you secure the salmon. So we're really making everything sit in that little package. And the same on that final side here. Don't worry about any tears or cuts. You know, if it misbehaves a bit, you can tuck it in. It's quite a pliable pastry. Season this with a little salt and a little tiny bit of pepper. And then 2 eggs, beaten up, and just brush the pastry. This egg wash will make this pastry go absolutely insanely gorgeous and golden and delightful. And this is going to go into the oven in 2 simple stages. I'm going to put it in the oven now at 220 degrees Celsius, and very importantly, put this at the bottom of the oven. Why? Because we want crispy bottoms, okay? So 15 minutes, that's all you need. In we go. Happy days. Right, let me show you a really cool little hack. Most of the eggs are still in this bowl, right? And when I came up with this recipe, I'm thinking, my teenagers, what do they like? Pestos, right? Jarred pestos, you can get some nice tomato ones, sun-dried tomato pestos. So a tablespoon of this in the eggs is like an incredible seasoning. It doesn't just have to go on pasta. Whip that up, and we've got like an easy 1 ingredient hack to take these eggs and make them amazing. So 15 minutes is up. Good smells are coming out of this oven. Let's have a little look here. Yes, look at that. So we're getting colour here. I can see this crispiness happening underneath. So we'll take that lovely pesto-y egg and it will go in between the little gullies. And it will protect and flavour the salmon. Another 15 minutes in the oven will not kind of overcook this salmon, but it will kind of just make it gorgeous. Put that egg over the salmon. That will give it a fantastic little glaze. Look at that. It's gonna be amazing. So back in the oven for 15 minutes, and then it's dinner time. exciting. Time's up. Welcome to my beautiful salmon on croute. It's scruffy, but it's utterly beautiful. Look at that. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Bubbling and sizzling around the outside. Look at that. I mean, it's all about the crunchy edges. Look at that. Just so crispy. I've done some greens here. I couldn't help myself. Got some lovely green beans, asparagus, sprouting broccoli, little kiss of olive oil. And that is a sumptuous, sumptuous meal for the people I love. All right, let's get into it. So, the nice thing about these gaps is it's sort of showing us where the portion is. Look at that. Look at the cross section. Absolutely gorgeous. It's like the perfect slice. Crispy pastry at the bottom. Gorgeous, rich spinach with the garlic, the onions, and that glaze of the flavoured pesto egg. It's a thing of joy. Look at that. A little kiss of lemon juice. Fresh and delicious. Right, go on, let's have a little cheeky try. Ah, pastry, salmon, spinach. It's so good. The salmon is flaking, and then the sweetness of the pesto with the egg is like elegance, just kind of like put over the top with the crispy pastry. It's a lovely, lovely meal. So let's not do this for dinner parties and friends. Let's do this at home, for your family. Honestly, you won't regret it. That food makes me happy, and everyone deserves that, especially now, more than ever. Right, let's take this to the girls. Girls, dinner! We're going to do a roasted tail of salmon, which has been seasoned with salt, pepper, green tea, and sesame oil. It's going to be amazing. Plus, fantastic whole grains and a salad bursting with vitamins. Of course, you can use regular salmon fillet. I'm going to cook this beautiful salmon tail. Cooking fish on the bone is really a beautiful thing. You get more moisture, it's more forgiving if you slightly overcook it, and you just don't have to be scared of it. Start by making 1/2 centimetre deep cuts, about 1 centimetre apart. It looks kind of pretty. Well, that ain't a bad thing, but the real reason we're doing it is to get seasoning in there. Also, allow heat to penetrate so it cooks beautifully. We want to season it with salt and pepper. Then we got this kind of curveball in there, green tea. Simply tear open a green tea bag and sprinkle over the fishtail. It tastes incredible. And of course, you've got that slightly Asian, oriental sort of vibe just kind of kicking in there. So just tap the fish in and around all that seasoning. Finally slice a clove of garlic and push the pieces into the cuts in the fish. Because when that garlic roasts, the natural oils will come out of the fish. And they'll start to sort of fry the garlic. Get a teaspoon of sesame oil and pat it onto the salmon skin. That bit of sesame oil will make all the difference. It will transform and link all of those flavours and seasonings. Then this needs to cook for around 20 minutes on 180 degrees Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit. Time to do the sunshine salad. Why is it called sunshine? Because it's colourful. I'm going for carrots, tomato, chicory and cress. But pick your favourite veg and make it your own. Chop, shave and slice for different shapes and sizes. Chicory, you might not have tried this before. I cut it in half first, and then you get these lovely cups, and these will catch the dressing. These are kind of sweet and bitter. And then you've got the stalk here. So often people throw the stalk in the bin, but actually this is the most delicious part. So let's just big it up. Beautiful. I'm adding mango, because I love it, but you can swap it out for papaya, peach or nectarines. I mean, that's already looking very appealing. Time for the dressing. Squeeze the rest of the flesh from the mango stone and add some lime. Season to taste with low salt soy sauce, and for a final flavour kick, add some red chilli. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this on top of the dressing. I'm not going to dress it yet.
Okay, so there's the sunshine salad, ready and raring to go. Next, some stir-fry rice. Get your pan on a medium heat, peel a thumb-sized piece of ginger, or just scrape it with a knife. This amazing root contains a compound called gingerol, known to have anti-inflammatory properties if you eat it regularly. Now I'm using that all-important brown whole grain rice, which I've pre-cooked and put in the fridge. In the pan, we want a teaspoon of sesame oil and then go in with the ginger. I want to coat the ginger in that lovely sesame oil, and I just turn it down a little bit. It's a little bit too fast, but what I want to do is just use a spoon. I want to get all the ginger laid out quite flat, and I want to make it go kind of crispy. Then sprinkle in a teaspoon of sesame seeds. Once you get a little bit of colour, just going to go in with the cold whole grain rice and just jiggle that about. You know, don't rush it, just bring it back to be sort of hot, soft, and maybe a little bit kind of crispy in some parts as well, which is nice. Okay, let's check our salmon. That's had about 20 minutes. Look at that. Really, really gorgeous. Time to plate up. Toss the salad in that vibrant dressing, then it's going onto a platter with the ginger whole grain rice. Top it off with the salmon tail. Let's get in there. You can just lift it like that. Look at that. Take out the bone and you're ready to dive in. The salmon is so juicy, and that green tea just gives it that savoury sort of perfume, which is gorgeous. And the rice. All this flavour for just 600 calories per portion. Plus nutritious fish, fantastic whole grains, and a salad bursting with vitamins. It's full of the good stuff. When feeding your loved ones, a super simple tray bake is your best friend. So I'm pairing up some potatoes, carrots, and garlicky green veg with some beautiful salmon fillets in a way you've never seen before. So what I want to do is take your average everyday salmon and make it truly spectacular. A lot of people steam it, roast it, pan cook it. I want to stuff it with the most incredible prawns with a creamy sauce. A little wrap of bacon, it's going to be so, so good, and it's the easiest thing in the world. So the salmon, what we want to do is create little pockets. Get a knife, go to the fat part of the salmon, and just gently rock the knife like that, and then we can stuff it and bring some of my favourite flavours together. So first up, creme fraiche. I've got 2 or 3 nice tablespoons in there, and we can really make this incredible by a little salt, a little pepper, and some Parmesan cheese. No flour, no milk, no kind of whisking. Nice little wodge of Parmesan goes in. Mix that up. If you've got things like lemon around, you can scent that with just the tiniest little scrape of zest. And then prawns, these are like standard frozen prawns that I've defrosted. You could use fresh, of course. And my kids just love them. Massive brownie points for prawns, always. So mix that up. Done. It's fast, to the point, and delicious. And I think you need that when you've got a family to feed and other things to do. So look, take your little bit of prawn here and fill it. Try and keep all the nice creamy goodness inside the fish. You can stuff that with anything you've got to hand. You could stuff it with spinach, crab meat. Now, I know Poppy will like this. I think Buddy should be okay. River probably will kick up about the white sauce, but that's tough. We're trying to teach him. I'm going to just give it a little seasoning with salt and pepper. Now, as I was kind of coming up with this, I was thinking what could make it even better? Well, an answer to that is always smoky bacon. So a little thin rasher of, you know, pancetta smoked bacon is nice, and I want to kind of twist and wave it around as I do it. So it's kind of holding that creme fraiche sauce. That, to me, looks stunning. Just nestle it in there with the lovely veggies. All I'm going to do now is give it a little kiss of olive oil, just to say I love you. So the one last thing to do, herb. You could use any herb like sage, thyme. I'm going to go for rosemary, and the thing to do is put a little olive oil on the herbs and just have a proper little rub up. And that starts to bring out their natural oils. So rest the rosemary over the fish, and this is just all going to cook together really beautifully. So there you go.
In the oven at 220 degrees Celsius for about 12 to 15 minutes. I want it to be sort of beautifully cooked, but a little bit blushing, and I want the bacon crispy. So let's do this. Okay, with the potatoes, what I quite like doing, because they're boiled, right, shake it flat, put it on a low heat, and let that kind of keep warm, but slowly kind of get a little bit caramelised on one side. It's beautiful. Look at that. That, my friends, is a beautiful tray bake. Not just fit for family, but friends, special occasions. A one tray wonder that you will not regret doing. Truly delicious. And then these new potatoes and carrots, see how I've let them just catch on one side? Look how lovely that is. Can you see how the greens have kind of gone crispy? You hear that? Delicious. So come on, let's have a little cheeky taste before my mob, they're coming. Lemon juice, always a joy. Let's get in there. Can you see how lovely and flaky that is? Oh, yes. And it's sort of blushing still. A little bit of bacon. The cream sauce. It's only like a little tablespoon in there. It makes all the difference. By stuffing the salmon, the prawns are protected, the cream sauce kind of pools in that little pocket. That bacon renders its beautiful fat, so the flavour of smokiness is there. And then the greens, with that kind of crispiness and softness and the garlic, delicious. Come on, guys! What are you waiting for? Buds, thank you, my boy. Thanks, Pops.
Yeah, there's bacon, there's prawns.
Right, do you like potatoes, River? Point to me which one you want. Which one do you want?
That one.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
OK, give me your plate. And you got some broccoli as well.
Are there any prawns?
Yeah, there's prawns right inside. Here, Pep, that's your one. Have you tried how good these carrots are? Buddy, pick those. This is one of my favourite ways to cook fish. Delivering a perfect lunch or dinner every time, and full of flavour hacks using everyday ingredients. Succulent salmon steamed in the bag with a spicy chorizo and almond and roast pepper sauce. So we're going to buddy up beautiful salmon with chorizo sausage, that fantastic classic Spanish sausage. Let's push the protein to one side. I'm going to make a sauce. It's going to be quick, sweet and delicious. What it does need is the help from a liquidizer. So in there, I'm going to put half a tin of chickpeas, juice and all, red peppers, half a jar of these. They're sweet, they're smoky, they're outrageously tasty. A little pinch of salt, a little pinch of pepper, and a little handful of almonds. Now, you can use regular almonds. These are smoked almonds. They taste amazing, smoky and gorgeous. So we'll whiz that up with just a little swig of vinegar and a kiss of extra virgin olive oil. This will give you the most amazing ruby red sauce. It's that simple. OK, let's just have a little taste. Oh, sweet and delicious. I want to show you a preparation for the fish. I've got two very typical salmon fillets right there. You want to score into the skin about 1 centimetre, right? And you can do that twice. We can put things into these little cuts and we can add flavour. Also, it'll help it cook quicker. So win-win-win. I'm going to season it first, but also herbs. Parsley, mint, basil, gorgeous. So as that fish cooks, the flavour from those herbs is going to go straight into that fish. And then we've got a sausage just winking at me. Just cut it up, little thin slices. But what we love about this is their use of spices, paprika, garlic, herbs. The great thing about chorizo is it really does make everything taste better. OK, we're going to make our own little envelope to cook all this. So get yourself some wide tin foil. I go for just over 1 metre and then fold it in half just so it's more robust. So I'm going to put my sauce on one side. And then if you wanted to spike this with any veggies, asparagus, peas, broad beans, you can. I'm just going to go for those few little leftover chickpeas. Go in with the chorizo. Just scatter it in and around. That's gonna cook in the sauce. And then we'll lay on top these beautiful salmon fillets. Look at that. So we'll kiss it with a little olive oil. And what we're gonna do is make our little tin foil bag. First of all, just bring in the edges. We don't want to have any sauce escaping. A little tight nip like that, nice and tight. And then we got the last one, 1 centimetre, turn, 2 centimetres. So look, now we've made the envelope. As it cooks, the sauce boils, it steams, it hits the top of the bag, then it rains down. Beautiful moisture on the fish. It gives you the most amazing flavour and succulence. Now get yourself a tray. We won't be getting it dirty, but we'll use it to cook it in. And the lovely thing about this, you can put whatever combo you want together. You can go Asian flavours, you can go curry flavours, you can go like tomatoes, olives, different fish. You can even do chicken breasts. Brilliant. So let's get these in the oven at 220 degrees Celsius, which is 430 degrees Fahrenheit, about 15 minutes, and then I'll show you. So you can see the bag has puffed up. Let's get it out. Oh, come on! What I like to do is fancy it up in a little platter, like this. By the way, clean, no washing up. Happy days. And then get a knife and just break it. And be careful not to burn yourself. So imagine taking that to the dinner table. A bit of excitement. It smells absolutely amazing. Give it a little kiss of lemon juice in those little gaps. Look at that. And I love just to serve it with some nice crusty bread to mop up all of the juices. Let's have a little try. I love it. Every now and again you come across a little bit of chorizo, chickpea. Wow. It's just the most fantastic way to cook fish. A £1 wonder or a one bag wonder, it doesn't matter. Give this a go, you're gonna love it. Hello, you lovely people. Okay, so it's not long now until Valentine's Day. And the question is have you done enough? Are you prepped? Are you ready to give beautiful things to the person that you love? Maybe you could do more? Okay, so look, let me give you a little gift. This is the incredible chocolate pots. Book 2, right? Been with my missus for 25 years. She loves it. Proper, romantic. A chocolate pot is like dense. It's incredible. It's rich. It is like the best expression of chocolate ever, and you can dip stuff in it. Oh, it's lovely. It's just what you need in your life because you want to get lucky. So let's do that. Have you got 4 minutes for someone you love? Have you got 4 minutes? Okay, so come forth. We've got half a pint of gorgeous single cream, organic. Then we need 2 packs. 2 packs, 200 grams of gorgeous chocolate. None of that cheap old rubbish. 70% cocoa solids, right? Give it a spank. So things are already looking up, right? Give it a good old spank. And that's gonna break the chocolate. And then if you do that, then you can kind of come over here. So we don't want to boil this cream because chocolate's very delicate. So as it comes up to temperature, it will start to melt beautifully. It smells amazing already. The second lot goes in, and smashing it really makes all the difference. And then with love and respect, we're just gonna kind of move this up. Can you see it melting already? Look at that. The color starts to change. Oh, it smells amazing. So as that comes up, we wanna make it more rich. So 20 grams of beautiful butter goes in. Then I'm gonna take a little bit of booze. Take the booze of your choice. So I'm using a little bit of a, brandy. So that's from France, very nice. If you're from Scotland, you can have a little bit of quality whiskey. If you're from Brazil, cachaça. If you're from, let's think of another country, Mexico, good tequila. Oh yes. If you're from Essex, Snowball. No, that's a cocktail, that don't count. Okay, look, come in. You can see, now we've brought it off the heat. Super, super quick, right? And then the butter is melting, and that's really enriching it. And then there's one last thing I want to do, other than this lovely little bit of brandy that I'm gonna put in, about 3 tablespoons, 2 or 3, just to give it a nice little kick, right? And then we're gonna go in some egg yolks, 2 egg yolks. That's gonna give it the most incredible silky texture. So then we can go to a whisk and really mix that in. So the point of a chocolate pot is not a mousse, no bubbles. Like, it's silkiness, it's delicate, it's super, super sort of decadent. Really, really good. So once you've done that, actually one last thing, really, really important. A pinch of salt. It's really, really weird, I know, but salt opens up the taste buds. It allows you to taste the chocolate even better. So that is now done. Get a nice little spatula and just put it into these cups, like so. Try not to make too much mess. But literally 2 tablespoons is all you need because it's really intense and luxurious. So that is the chocolate pot. So look, you could have it warm, absolute joy, right? Or just give it a little shake and pop it in the fridge for about 2 hours. It's gonna be really kind of unctuous and sort of dense, but really sort of spoonable. So I've got some here that I made earlier. So then the question is how to eat, right? So just picture this, candles lit, curtains drawn, a little bit of Chardonnay, right? I mean, you don't even have to cook a dinner, just go for this, right? Because this is gonna be the trick, right? The big question is how to eat it. Now we could use a spoon, it's a bit too big. Could be a teaspoon, or, oh yeah, we could dunk. So we could go nice little jammy dodger, heart in the middle, romantic, yeah? Imagine dunking that in there, happy days. Or, to keep on the kind of really romantic theme, hobnob, right? You know what I'm talking about, hobnob. Take the whole thing, or do you want to take 2? Your choice. So, you know, you could take the humble kind of little biscuit like that, and then have a little ferret around. Look at that. That is what I'm talking about. And when that goes in there, that is beautiful. So, ladies, gentlemen, wherever the love is in your life, do a chocolate pot, make something for someone you love, put some nice music on, have a lovely night. I wish you all the best. Spread some love, man. There's too much hatred in the world. This could fix anything. Good luck. And I really, really hope you get a bunk up. Lots of love. I'm gonna give you the most incredible chocolate cake. It is so easy, so delicious. It's gonna be crisp on the outside, oozy on the inside, and it's gonna make you happy for sure. Now, here's the thing. There's not as many eggs as usual around, so I've literally rewritten the recipe now without eggs. This is an eggless chocolate tart, cake. It's gonna be amazing. You love it. I'm not sure what it is yet, but it's good. So here we've got 200 grams of butter, 200 grams of chocolate, 200 grams of nuts. Now I'm using hazelnuts, but it could be almonds, it could be pecans, it could be cashew nuts. Then I'm using 200 grams of self-raising flour, 200 milliliters of milk, and then 200 grams of sugar. Right, let's do it. So we're gonna start with the nuts. This goes into the food processor. We're gonna whiz this up. We got 200 grams of chocolate and break it in. Super easy. In it goes. Then we can go in with the butter. Then the flour. A pinch of salt. Important. And then 200 mils of milk. And then 200 grams of sugar. So all of it goes in. So, all done. Just clean up the edge. So I am going to just take a little bit of greaseproof paper. This stops the sponge sticking to the tray. Now, if you haven't got this, a bit of oil of any type or butter, right? Give it a good old rub up, right? Like this. And then take a little bit of flour, like that. And you can make your own non-stick tray by shaking this around. There ain't nothing sticking to that. Your own homemade non-stick, okay? Adjusting, ducking, diving. That's what we're doing. So, scrumple up this, like that. Unscrumple it. put that in our tray. So, in we go. Now, like any cake, if you wished to pimp your ride, you can. You can put a few dried fruit bits in there. Sour cherries are particularly good with chocolate, but of course, it could be raisins, apricots, stuff like that. You know, things like tinned pears, delicious. Come on. You know, little, flakes of nuts. Just feel that you can kind of embellish this a little bit. So look, get all of that sponge out of there. Sort of just shake it down like this into the corners. Look at that. Equal it out, every last bit, and that, my friends, is it. So that's going to go in the oven. Now the oven is at 180 degrees Celsius, and I'm going to put it in the middle of the oven for 18 minutes exactly if you want it nice and oozy. And then I'll show you what to do next. But I'll tell you one thing, it's going to make you happy. Yes, it will. Okay, so the 18 minutes are up. The room smells amazing. Come on, look at that. Oh, come on. That, my friends, is beautiful. And if you give it a little shake, can you see the wobble on that? So that is a good sign. So you can see that it's crispy and spongy here and a bit softer and oozy here. Right, let's do this. So as I take it out the tray, it's going to crack and smash up. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. And what you can do is just get a little bit more chocolate if you've got some around. Someone will definitely have a stash. And just grate some chocolate on the top. And that'll just melt in the most beautiful way. Okay, so let's serve it up. Look, it's almost like a hot pudding now. And I just take the spoon like that, get under it. Gorgeous. You see how oozy that is? Beautiful. And then a little bit of yogurt. I think the fresh yogurt with the oozy chocolate is really nice. And then if there's a bit of that old chocolate again, we'll just have a little grate up. So there you go. Come and have a look at this. So look, it's firm there, kind of almost chocolate ganache custard there. Ripple that with a little bit of the yogurt. Come on, Eileen. Oh yeah. It's so easy. And for times like this, that is going to put a big old smile on your face. Happy days. Breakfast or a little dessert bread, chocolate, orange, nuts, crunch, soft, hot. Come on, let's just go for it. So I'm going to give you the easiest, most reliable bread recipe that you can embrace in your life. When you make bread, it's a beautifully soulful thing. It really is therapeutic, it's fun, it's creativity, and I think you're going to love it. So look, right here, I've got 1 kilo of strong organic bread flour. If you go to any supermarket or deli, if you search out the organic flour, strong, and that's going to get you somewhere really close to perfection, right? We can make a little well in the center here. And then here I've got 650 milliliters of tepid water. That means lukewarm. When I take a sachet of yeast, and they're the same in all the supermarkets, 7 grams, right? Just open it up, pour the yeast in. It's funny old stuff, but that was dormant and asleep. And now with a little heat, we're going to wake it up. So in the middle, we'll go in with the yeast. Like that. Now, we need to season this flour. So a couple of teaspoons of sea salt. So in we go. And then I'll use a fork just to kind of keep my hands clean to start mixing it up. Bring in a little bit of the sides. So you go from water to a kind of light slurry, then it will thicken up. So look, as the fork does the hard work of the sticky business, like we're bringing it all together, we can start getting a bit more aggressive now and bringing this flour in. You can see it getting firmer. Because there's a bit more water in this recipe, what you get is a lighter, softer, spongier, plumper dough, and it will give you great results. It also means you've got to knead it a bit more to not make it sticky. It's quite therapeutic. Like if you love someone, put it into the bread. If you've got good thoughts, put it into the bread. If you hate someone, put it into the bread. Take out the, like just get amongst it and just knead until all of these little bits are completely clean, right? You're going to do your own washing up by kneading. So I'm just pushing it and pulling it, can you see? And then I'll pull it back. So when I stop kneading this dough, you'll see it kind of starting to bounce back a little bit, like a kind of rubber band. There's some other techniques where you can kind of just throw it down, pull it over like that. But really, your job is just to keep moving it until it's shiny, smooth, and really elastic. Okay, so I'm going to take that bowl. I'm just going to lube it up with some olive oil, just so it doesn't stick. So get the dough in a bowl. Just put a little oil on top. So what I tend to do is just put a wet cloth over here and let it slowly prove. That's one batch made. I made one exactly the same, which has been in the fridge for like 2.5 hours. And this is what happens. And I tend to just leave it in the fridge all weekend. So look at that. That's the same batch. So you can see that this is quite tight. Can you see this is just like dreamy? Look at that. Oh, it's too much. Let's put this in the fridge. So all these little bubbles here, that's carbon dioxide, okay? And trapped inside our dough. Look at this. Oh, come on, look at those beautiful. See these holes? Come and have a look at these holes. Like, they're really fine. And these holes are what's going to give you that sponginess and the texture. So we can just push this back and we'll push the air out. So what I can do is split this bread in half. We'll take this, pop that there for a second, cover it up, put it in the fridge. But you grab a bit, make a pizza, do some little rolls. You can create little dumplings around leftover sort of chilies or bologneses. You can steam them, like you can roast them. So just have this kind of dough in your fridge. It's a cool thing. I'm just going to press the dough out to like the size of A4 kind of bit of paper. We're going to go for a little bit of like chocolate spread, hazelnut chocolate spread that you guys know. Pop it in the microwave for 10 seconds. So look, 10 seconds just helps it be much more kind of spreadable. 4 big tablespoons, I'd say, about 160, 180 grams. So just use that spoon just to see how nice and satisfying that is, just to sort of spoon it around. Best friend of chocolate is orange. Use a fine grater, even on a box grater, and just zest a little orange. You hardly need any really to make a difference, but chocolate orange breakfast bread, come on. So it might not look like much orange, but that will make all the difference. So look, this is proper child's play. Very, very simple to do. So just, you know, confidently take this and start to roll it up. And you can pinch the little sides if you wish to stop the chocolate coming out. Pinch it. You can do it badly, you can roll it, it doesn't really matter. And now you've got a chocolate and bread log, right, with a hit of orange. Take a knife, not quite to the end, and we'll go straight down the middle, like that. And what you'll do is expose sort of texture. So look at that, right? You've layered it, you've laminated it, you've made the everyday exciting. So through flavour combination, but also fantasy, texture, shape. So get yourself a little loaf tin like this, any one you want. This is non-stick, but you can rub it with a bit of oil, no problem. And then literally just turn it over like this. And don't worry about it being, you know, a bit rough and ready. What will happen is, and what is very generous, is that as this proves, it's going to double in size, right? So all those little gaps, all those little imperfections will just kind of sort themselves out. So what I want to do is a little egg wash and some crushed nuts. So egg wash is quite nice. It's going to give you the most amazing colour. So just beat up the eggs like this, and we'll just take some of that egg wash like that and just brush it onto the white dough, not onto the chocolate. Now when you do this, this will make it go golden and gorgeous beyond all belief. And then you can take some nuts, in this case, best friends of chocolate, hazelnuts, but it could be any nut, could be pistachio, almonds. So put your nuts in there, crack them up. Then when you bash it up, just sprinkle that over the top. And as that proves, it will just wind into the nuts. They'll stick to the top like that, and it will be absolutely incredible. So what you want to do now is just put this in a little corner of the room. You can put a wet cloth over it as well to create that humidity. You don't really want a window open or a draft. And in about an hour, 40 minutes to an hour and a half, that will double in size, right? And when it's doubled in size, then we can bake it. So look at that. Absolutely beautiful. So the yeast is continuing to do its work. It's making it all plump and gorgeous. That's going to be the sponginess, right? We're going to go into a preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius for 25 minutes. Put it towards the bottom of the oven, and that heat from the oven will give it another lift again, right? So open and gently close the oven straight away, and that's a beautiful thing. So look at this. There's your beautiful chocolate bread, golden bits, nutty bits. Let that cool down for normally around like 20 minutes, but we're not gonna have time today, right? Can you hear the crunch? And then on the inside, look at that. You got the sponge wrapped with the chocolate, the nuts. That is gonna be a thing of joy. Let's have a little try. For a breakfast bread, come on, absolutely beautiful. Tomorrow, I've got some friends and family coming around that I haven't seen for a long, long time. It's gonna be so nice to get everyone together, and now it's time for an incredible dessert. Semifreddo means semi-frozen, and it's basically a homemade ice cream. We're gonna flavor it with chocolate. Chocolate, 100 grams, goes in a little bowl over some simmering water. We'll melt that down. I'll just crack the eggs, and then I want to take out the lovely yolk. And then a pinch of salt, and that is stiff egg whites. Done. Part 2 is the cream. 200 millilitres in there. And then add 100 grams of sugar to my double cream. We're going to just whisk, and what we want to achieve from this is soft peaks. So, in this bowl here, we have our chocolate. Then I'm gonna go in with a regular tin of vanilla rice pudding. And then we can go in with the egg yolks, followed by 2 tablespoons of cocoa. Put the cream in and the egg whites. We're just gonna spin the bowl and fold. If you rough it up, it won't have the air, it won't have the elegance. Here, I've got a terrine mold. In here, with that amazing Semifreddo. And let's get that in the freezer as quickly as possible. Get yourself a little pan on a high heat there. I've got 200 grams of golden caster sugar, and we're gonna put around 50 mils of water into here. And as that's doing its business, I wanna show you how to make a little spiced dust. So what I've got here is 2 heaped teaspoons of icing sugar, 4 heaped teaspoons of cocoa powder. Then I've got a teaspoon of the allspice, cinnamon, and coriander seeds. But the other curveball is chili. So I'm gonna put it into a little spice grinder, liquidizer. Oh, it smells amazing. Get a little non-stick tray. Let's give it a little kiss of oil to be double sure nothing's gonna stick. And what I will do is rub this across, and I'll pour my praline into that. So now that caramel is nice and dark, let's put those hazelnuts in nice and carefully, don't touch it. That will be the most amazing, amazing flavour. So that's your homemade caramel. It's that simple, done and dusted.
Good to see you.
So nice to see you. You okay?
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah. I've done most of the important jobs yesterday. So dessert in the freezer, Semifreddo, it's looking amazing. And we can turn that out in here on a nice little platter. Now sprinkle this with our lovely spice dust. This you can either smash up in a pestle and mortar or whack it in a machine. You can finish it with just a few raspberries, strawberries. Who wants some Semifreddo?
How do you put the rice in it?
What rice, Sal?
There is rice.
There's no rice.
No, there is.
Really? Dad, that is so nice.
Delicious.
Rocky Road. Naughty. Very, very nice. I'm about to attempt to make a delicious Rocky Road, the easiest dessert, snack, whatever you want to call it. So what I have here is 500 grams of incredible chocolate. And look at that, just melted. Oh, hi, darling.
Can I have the swirly thing now?
The swirly will come up. So what we have here is a big bowl, 500 grams of chocolate. Now, this is 70% cocoa solids. It could be milk chocolate. It could be white chocolate. You can have fun with it, right? So just give that a little mix, River.
Shiny.
So what we're going to do is equal quantities of melted chocolate and stuff.
When can I have that?
What is it that you want?
I want that, the swirly thing.
The swirly thing. Okay. Can I have half of it?
No. Just let you can have this.
I get that and you get that.
Yeah.
Okay. So to 500 grams of melted chocolate, we're going to add 500 grams of stuff. I think the stuff is cool if it's not just sweet stuff. Otherwise, it's sweet on sweet on sweet, and you never have the contrast, right? So yes, we've got marshmallows here that you can put in, and they're cool. Popcorn, unsalted, obviously, go in. You can go through your cupboards, any odds and ends. Things like your digestive biscuits, we can put in. As indulgent as a Rocky Road is, you know, it's never going to be healthy, but you can make it full of the good stuff. Dried fruits, nuts, seeds. I personally love things like
Dad,
dried pineapple.
Mix it.
Can you mix it? Yeah, go on, mix it. You like the dried apricots, Buds?
Yeah.
Just tear some apricots in there like that. You like that?
Yeah.
So you can go super kiddie, you can go a bit more grown up. If you want to spike it with a little dried chilli, it's quite nice with the chocolate, it works. Go and crush that in. Don't eat it for yourself, crush it in.
Can I try a piece? I want to show Mum.
Okay, well, don't show Mum, because I'll get in trouble.
I want to see Mum.
You want to see Mum? Okay, see ya. So get yourself a little tray, some greaseproof paper, and then Buddy's going to pour it in here.
Ha! It's a bit heavy.
We're going to pat this down. Like tarmacking.
It does look a bit like tarmac.
It does look a bit. Right, once we've done that, I quite like just to put a little sprinkling of sesame seed on there like that. Put this in the fridge for about an hour, hour and a half until it goes nice and firm, and then we can cut it up and enjoy it. So, here we have our lovely Rocky Road. And look at that. I love it. Look at that. Oh, here we go. He's back. Perfect timing, young man. Because this is the Rocky Road of dreams. Look at this beautiful big old pile.
Dad, can you pour some white chocolate on it?
Yeah, you mean just get on with it, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Get on with it. Dad, can I have one now? I haven't tried it.
So there you go.
Oh, you want the top one?
A lovely Rocky Road.
Oh, Ginger's really nice at home.
Tell me, like, if you like it or not. Do you not enjoy it?
I do enjoy it. I just want to
Show Mum, okay. What about you, Buds?
I like it.
And you know what? If you do make a nice little batch, it's really lovely to whack in a little tin and give it away as a present. Rocky Road. Naughty, but very, very nice. Right, who should we give these to?
Me.